this the one you liked as well?
That's not one that I had picked out.
Okay.
It was the one that's actually on the outside of the bathroom. You wouldn't know, unless you know the building, you wouldn't know it's a bathroom. These are actually
Oh.
two different murals, but
Uh-huh.
that's the bathroom.
Oh, they go together very nicely.
Mm-hmm, and same artists.
Uh-huh.
So the upper one is called Chehalis Through Time, and the bottom one's called Why We Chose Chehalis.
Well, we'll just start with what we've got.
Okay.
I think I've got the video going. So, and George said that he would join us possibly online, and then if Dave watches the video later, then they'll all feel like they were here.
Okay, great.
Okay, I do have agendas. Pass that down. So I guess we won't
Is
be.
that a packet?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably won't be doing anything tonight that requires a motions because we don't have a quorum. I don't vote.
Perfect.
So
You can just
I
show
don't,
and tell.
I don't work but you can at least look over, I don't even think we can approve the minutes, but you can look over the minutes from the last meeting. I guess I need to update it to say who, the other person who was not here.
Okay.
And that would be the only.
Oh, excellent.
So I'll fix that. And then at our next meeting, hopefully we'll have a quorum and we can approve these. But it also jogs your memory.
Right.
I did not look up any information about what they were paid.
Right. And that's going to take an extra level of.
Yeah. I did try to find the artists whenever possible, and there was one that's anonymous, actually. Or at least it wasn't listed on the website.
Oh, that. Yeah.
This is an Olympia one. So
Yeah.
it's the cat on the bicycle with books, so it's outside of Orca Books.
Oh, cute. Very cute.
I did find a theme in the murals that I liked out of the Olympia group. Some of them were by the same artist.
Ah,
So I think I have
you have
of
you
a
have something
style I
resonating.
like. Yes. So I did notice that going through those.
So I found some that I liked, but I also.
Well, hold on. Let's
sure.
let's see. So we can't approve that. Okay, yeah. So let's move on to that murals. Yes, I like that one too.
And that's Martin Lee. And the reason I like that one is that he's got some like subtle things in there, and we had talked about maybe having some critters in ours and without being terribly obvious. So, but also while I was looking, I found a site, Thumbtack, and it has muralists from the Seattle area.
Oh,
And what I
neat.
found really interesting is they talk about sizes, and so I don't know what size, I don't know if we spelled out the exact size.
We have not decided on size yet.
Because that makes a big difference when
Is
they're
your
quoting.
mic on?
The green light is on, isn't it?
No.
Oh. Now it's on.
Now it's on.
Okay. But this particular man from Thumbtack, he's out of Seattle, and he is available in the next month, so that's another factor
Right.
you can find out. And he actually charged only $7,500 for this, and he said it should have been much more expensive because it's a huge wall,
Mhm.
but he only wanted to charge that because they gave him complete creative freedom. So what I found out is the more involved the group is in making the design, the more expensive the mural will be.
Oh, okay.
So if we can guide and give a general idea after we find an artist that we like, that will make it less expensive than if we say, well, can you move the rabbit here, or any of those
Right.
other things. So we'll need to keep that in mind.
Well, that's why I was thinking that what we would do is we'd give the theme,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd see what people came back with for like a sketch,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, find murals we like, and then say, hey, what would you do with this?
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have, so they would have creative freedom. We might not choose them though, if we didn't like what they came back with.
Right. So I think there's the different factors are going to be the timeline. So we definitely need to figure out what our timeline is, what the budget is, and who we like.
So the budget, I think, is going to be, we have $5,000 per mural, and that's going to include paint supplies. And so I don't know how much paint is going to cost, but I'm going to guess it's going to be something like $1,000 for supplies and $4,000 to pay the artist.
Okay.
And when I contacted Experience Chehalis and talked to them about their muralists. There's like 3 muralists who did all of their murals, so they're people they work with regularly, and I think their most expensive mural might have been $5,000, but
good.
most of them were under that. So she felt like for local muralists, that's not what we're asking, is not asking too much.
Okay.
They're also a not-for-profit. They're not they never have grants, so they would go get donations of paint and things like that. So I did you go through the Chehalis ones? Because those are on Experience Chehalis page, and somewhere I know there is a link to the murals. Actually, it might be better just to say when I just put in the search, I have come up downtown murals, and click on that, and then anybody who's at home watching can follow along. And when you scroll through, it shows each mural, and then it tells you who the artist is. So like the one you liked, the selfie one with her with wings, that's Emily von Flotow, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Thomas Sutley has done quite a few of these. Okay, this one with the sunset on top of the building, it's like the 4th one down. That was their most expensive mural. That maybe came at $5,000.
Okay.
And it's huge. That is a very large building.
Plus they're working up on scaffolding.
Yes.
Way up there.
And this one was 2 artists who worked together.
And I was looking through, and those are 2 of the ones that I like the most.
Yes.
You know, I've been through downtown Chehalis. I did not know that was there. That Market Street is a one-way street, and you pull in for the parking places. So once you're not going to see it as you're driving down the street. You have to look backwards to see that. And I don't think we have the same issue, but
Yeah.
Which is a shame for the artist's sake, but
yeah,
those are hidden treasures then.
right.
This mural is actually like, there's a forest scene.
Yes, that's
and
the one I
then-
liked also.
And then there's like the pioneers looking out over at Mount St. Helens before it erupted, and then the airplane, I think, says something like "Welcome to Chehalis," and then the airplane is supposed to be the airplane that spotted UFOs over Mount Rainier in the 1940s. And then the building in front of it has a farmer's market scene. So this is quite giant, and I think they did it in sections, and it's also multiple artists. So it's Thomas Sutley and Emily von Flotow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked that style as well.
Yeah, that one had a lot in it that I liked. When I was looking at do you happen to have your tab for your Olympia ones? I wrote them down, but I was, I was a fan of, like, I think it was like 60.
Feel free to scroll.
Okay.
It's a lot easier on a computer screen.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, the Reef, that one right
Mhm.
there,
Mm-hmm.
that one is Ira
Ira
Coyne
Coyne, right.
and Vince Ryland, and I've looked at both work that they've done in other murals that I
Mhm.
liked. So I was like, okay, I guess there's somebody I like. I believe one of them did the,
It's that link.
that's where I shouldn't be allowed to operate things. Come on. Oh, it's the link.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did one that I liked, which was the Rainy Day Records one.
Yeah, the Rainy Day Records one. I also liked the one that they did on the brewery. It's a Fishtail Brewery,
Mm.
and it has one of them has a octopus, and the other one has. Hold on, let me. Which way at the end? Okay, there's the octopus, salmon and octopus, and then this
Yeah.
one, fish, barley, and mountains. So if you, well, that looks terrible there. Oh,
Bernie.
okay, you can't really see it here. It's all pixelated. Anyway, it's beautiful in person.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same artist, and then they have salmon running over here. Anyway, that's Dennis Lyons. So he was one of the ones who partnered. And then there was a guy who did these historical ones that I thought were pretty cool. They are not that great looking in these little thumbnails, but when I started really looking at them, I think this might be one. Ira Coyne. So he did number 60 Olympia Coffee Roasting Company, and it's just kind of like very old-fashioned looking.
It's like a poster.
Yeah, like a poster. And all of his are kind of got this like
The
historic vintage feel to
Mhm.
them that I thought was kind of cool. He did, I think he did this. I keep trying to zoom in on them and then I lose them. This one, it's
69.
Okay.
yes, number 69. It is
Yeah, the steamer.
the steamer,
Mhm.
Olympia to Seattle.
I like that one
It
too.
also looks better and blown up.
Yeah.
And then he did. Oh, I don't know. He did one that was just it was a history mural. This is great. I actually was like looking around at the Olympia ones and I found articles that would have like 6 of them in them. And I'm like, I know there's way more
Right.
than that in Olympia. So this was a great find on your part, Rob. I'm gonna run out of. Oh, there it is. Number
right.
number 21, Rebecca Howard mural, and it does not look like much on my phone, but it's really cool when you zoom into it. All the details that he's got in there's like barrels and the script that he uses to. Yeah, it doesn't blow up very well, but anyway, that was one I liked. And then there was one. Kind of like you were here, there's a Yelm mural that they did that's kind of postcard looking that is pretty cool.
I think I was envisioning brighter than that. Like, this seems a little on the dull side simply because we have so many kind of dull buildings.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, gosh, if we could do bright, and that's why I got kind of excited about this brightness, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But I was thinking, well, if we don't use this style for the library, then it might
That would be
really
really
for the-
cool at the park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I felt like a lot of the Chehalis murals were really bright and colorful.
Mhm.
I agree.
So I appreciated that about those.
Since we just did the metal banners and they are one color, I was kind of thinking if we could do something kind of like a little bit more
Okay.
vibrant. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that they have plans, Chehalis. I don't know if they have plans for doing murals this summer. So there might be the opportunity to, approach some of these artists and say, hey, what would you do with this?
Do we want to approach the professionals first and then do an open call?
I want
or-
to do, I would like to do I would like them to do them simultaneously, personally, because I want to give locals an opportunity. I don't want to just go hire somebody from somewhere else. If nobody local comes up with anything that we think is to the level of quality that we want, then yeah, but I think we should give them a fair shake.
Okay. I think we'll need to set up the criteria so we are absolutely positive that they'll come through,
Right. We do have a couple local artists that are pretty good that, I don't know if I don't want to drop names right now, but I think they'd be a little hurt if we didn't,
Okay.
give them an opportunity.
Okay.
So, Experience Chehalis process commissioning a downtown mural. So they actually sent us a copy of how they do it. So step 1, theme development and location. The Experience Chehalis Design Committee will begin the process by discussing their vision, budget, and sites for murals annually in early spring. This initial conversation allows committee to gauge needs, site availability, and themes, as well as the kind of design, style, and aesthetic the committee is looking for. These factors are all taken into consideration as the mural plan is developed each year. Securing site location. After initial mural plans are discussed, Experience Chehalis Executive Director and Design Chair will contact property owner to discuss the placement. So this will be good for when we start moving beyond city buildings, is to have a process like this. Discussion will involve presenting general concept of mural with the agreement of a final design review between the Chehalis, Experience Chehalis artist and property owner. Okay, so sourcing their artist. After securing the site location, design team will reach out to community artists by sharing. I feel like we've already almost done step 1 and step 2. So we're plugging
Moving
right
on.
on. Moving on. After securing the site location, design team will reach out to the community artists by sharing a request for proposals for the mural project. This will take place via social media and a press release to local media. The RFP will detail the project outline, including timeline, desired theme, wall dimensions, and artist payment, with a due date for submission to Experience Chehalis. It will require artists to submit a sketch of the intended mural design for consideration. So that's kind of how I would envision it going out. But I think that we can also reach out to those artists and say, hey, this opportunity's there. We'd
Right.
love for you to submit. But as a city, we're supposed to put out a request for bids on anything and hopefully get at least 3 to choose from. So that's why I want to, and also the local thing.
So, request for bids, would we spell out the amount we're willing to pay, or we are asking them to tell us how much they would like?
I think we could spell out how much we're willing to pay.
I think so too. I think that just makes it real clear and people aren't second guessing themselves and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're gonna need to figure out, like, we need to backtrack to site location and figure out how big we want the murals to be.
Mhm.
Like, take the measuring tape,
Mhm.
figure out the square footage.
Mhm.
Most people bid by square foot.
Okay.
So it'll give them an idea what they're getting paid per square foot. Okay, artist selection. Once the FP is released, Experience Chehalis Design Committee will create a selection committee consisting of members. So we're just gonna I think it would be a good idea to make sure we've got a council member here. If when we get to that phase.
And the
And we can
other-
invite the mayor, I don't know,
And anyone else who might be responsible for maintaining it, that
Mhm.
would be a good person to have here too, to help us
Yeah.
decide if it's something that's just gonna be a nightmare later on
Mhm.
to keep, so.
Yeah. Design chair and ED may attend selection meeting, but will not submit recommendations. Selection committee, so I don't know, we don't have a policy on this portion of it yet. Selection committee will meet to award the project to the chosen artist. Property owner must be in agreement with the final selection to move forward. Design chair and/or ED will notify selected artists and all other applicants. Artist presentation to property owner. So this is not
That's good for future.
Mhm,
yeah,
right.
good for future. Because, I get it. You wouldn't want to tread lightly when you're dealing with somebody else's property. Okay, so they'll submit some more defined designs, and then after making appropriate changes, the artist's final design is sent over to Experience Chehalis and the property owner. And then there's an agreement that will be signed. They also did send me a copy of the agreement. Agreement will be signed by the artist and Experience Chehalis. Once it is approved, the artist will commence work on the site. The duration of the mural execution depends on its size and the number of walls the client has commissioned work for. So you did note that they start this in early spring.
Yeah.
So as soon as, May might be the earliest that could be started. Sometimes May and June can be damp. So it just depends. They'll have to use their judgment, and oftentimes work can go into September if the weather's good. Okay, so the agreement will, obviously we would tailor this to Tenino,
Mhm.
and I have to run it by all the appropriate people.
Does the city own the library building?
Yes, the city owns the library. In this case, though, we would want to include Linda
Mm-hmm.
As the head librarian
Mhm.
in any of the discussions. So we would probably add her into that committee too at the end,
Mm-hmm.
because we want the library to be happy with
Yes, we
whatever
do.
we put on the building, even though it's our building, that doesn't matter as far as we're concerned. The building out in the park, we might invite some representatives from the 2 leagues that use our fields.
Mm.
That might make them feel included. My poor daughter, she keeps trying to get a hold of me today, and I'm always in the middle of a meeting. Oh, I answered back. I'm in another meeting.
I find it interesting that they've
Okay,
got
I'll
an
call you
agreement
back
in effect
soon.
for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
but
bye.
it says for at least 5 years
And
after the,
that means that if you've done all the beautiful artwork, they can't mow it down for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah. So you have your claim to fame for at least
At
5
least
years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Man, you would hope spending that much money that it would last much longer.
right,
but-
right.
Well, and if you're a private property owner and you decide to sell,
Yes.
that's a factor.
Yes,
So,
yes. And we've seen that happen in Tenino, actually, where there was a mural and the property was sold, and then that mural belongs to the new property owner, not to anybody who was involved in the
Right.
mural process.
right. And that gets sticky.
It does, it does. especially if it starts to degrade or,
Mhm.
yeah, so,
It has verbiage about if the city decides the mural cannot be maintained, they can remove it.
mhm.
Interesting, okay.
Hopefully it lasts a long time before any, those kinds of things start to happen.
Yeah,
You know, they have historic murals in Centralia, and even faded murals have their,
Oh, yeah.
have their appeal, you know? So,
So there's landscaping on the outside of the library. Do we anticipate mowing some of that down?
I would think more that we would have our mural higher than the landscaping.
Okay.
I don't think it would be appreciated if we mowed down the landscaping.
well, and it'll help with budding artists, shall I say, from the public.
Those who want to make a name for themselves?
Yeah. Tag, you're it.
Oh, no.
That's one of the things, actually, that's one of the things that I wrote down graffiti style writing, because several of the Olympia area murals are done in a graffiti style writing. And I
Mhm.
thought, I wonder if that would deter tagging.
I don't think
I
it
don't know that would.
Yeah.
And
No.
I don't particularly like it.
We
'cause it
do have
looks like
somebody
tagging.
in our, we do have somebody in our community who's a very good graffiti artist,
Mm.
because there's been 2 paintings in the pit that's at the top of the quarry that have been really cool. One was an alligator, and one is one of those graffiti style tags, but it's like really well done, 3-dimensional looking with stars, and it's really good. And then somebody goes in there and just, you know,
Yeah, right.
crudely does
So we
bad
could
words.
post one of these applications up on the rocks.
Yes,
and
up on the rocks. You
Come
could-
see us.
You could apply, but you gotta follow our theme. And I understand that with that style, it's the whole draw to doing it is the fact that it's
Illegal.
illegal.
Yes, yes.
So as soon as we made it legal, we take all the fun out of it.
Maybe that's the deterrent that they're talking about. We made you legal.
Okay. Well, I think we have some direction. We can put together, I can put together an RFP, as they call it, request for proposals, and send it to you, and you guys can see what you think
Okay.
of my wording and like,
Mhm.
fix it.
Move editing.
Editing,
Mhm.
whatever. But I think it might be also useful to go walk to the have a meeting one of these times where we go to the locations and look at it in person and kind of talk about the size.
Sounds like a good idea. Yes.
Okay. All right, anything else about the,
One of the things we might need to include in our call to artists is a timeline, so that people understand once you start,
mhm.
you know, barring weather issues, that this needs to continue and not stop because you've got something else to do.
Be completed in a timely manner, yeah.
Yes, yes,
We have a short dry season here.
yes, we do. So and
Okay.
we could even ask for, when they submit their drawings, an estimated time
Mhm.
that it would take to complete. So this,
It might even be like why it would be a good idea to get some of these artists that are good at working together,
Mhm.
because you got 2 people working on
Right.
it, it'll go faster.
like, this professional guy, this was 80 hours, and I don't think he spent the entire time there.
No.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, how long? And he said basically it took him 12 days to complete. So
That's
That's
amazing.
fast.
that
I would
is-
love to have something like that. It's just,
it's just such a pop.
yeah, it
Mhm.
is.
Mm-hmm. So, But it was, yeah, you know, going through and finding these bits of information was just really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's just, some of the information is like, I didn't even think about that, so.
Well, one of the other things I found interesting is so many of these murals are in alleyways.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
A lot of the Olympia ones, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Even the Chehalis ones,
Mm.
like some of those UFO ones, those are
Mhm.
down back alleys.
Mhm.
They're just supposed to be something fun as you're walking, going, oh, look, what's here? I didn't, expect it.
Well, the gallery I'm in down there, we're putting together a proposal for a mural in the back, so on the back alley.
Yep.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
so,
And we have some
we do have back alleys.
alleys that I don't know, some of them are sandstone, but there's some that could. There's some owners I'm hoping we can talk into. They actually, in one of the city's comprehensive plan, I was reading it the other day, some light reading. They suggested a mural on the post office.
Mhm. I think that'd be a great idea,
Mhm.
and that is right there on our main street,
Yep,
so
that would be pretty cool. And that building isn't
historic.
historic, and it's
No, it's very utilitarian.
It's a very 1970 building, is about when it was built, and
Perfect for
cinder
a
block.
mural.
It would be perfect for a mural.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just one other thing related to the grant that I thought I'd share is the Creative District sign. As part of the grant, we will get some WashDOT signs. And so now we have to decide, the city has to decide, but I'm open to ideas about it. And we also, whatever we do has to be okayed by WashDOT
Mhm.
and possibly the county, depending on where they go. So all these entities have to be involved. So there's freeway signs. The freeway signs are pretty expensive, and we'd probably want two because the freeway has two directions.
Mhm.
So I think they're outside of our budget. We already have, I believe, a historic district sign on the freeway. So maybe it would be a waste to, they will only allow so many freeway signs in an area.
Uh-huh.
So otherwise it gets to where motorists are distracted, or they're not gonna see them because there's too many signs, and so they restrict how many can be there. So then there's conventional highway signs down below that. This one says Washington Creative District, Historic District, which we could do something like that because we are a historic district and a creative district. And this could be the sort of sign that you could see when you got off maybe when you get off the freeway, but they could definitely go on Highway 507.
Mm.
So WashDOT can put signs on 507. They have another sign that's smaller that was more like $1,200 a sign. So
Mhm.
it's like this, and it just says, it kind of gives you the feeling like Creative District ahead.
Mm.
And it'll have the Arts Wall logo, so it's got color. And these signs, by the way, are green with white writing.
Mhm.
And I feel torn about it because I don't feel like people who are going down Highway 507 are tourists
Right.
or people that they're going to drive through the Creative District anyway. Maybe it would get more people to stop. I'm not sure. So I really am drawn to something more towards the freeway, but that's old Highway 99. That's why I said possibly county. So the signs would come from WashDOT, but then we would have to get permission from the county to put signs on Old 99.
Who installs them?
And then I think it gets a little hazy about who installs them because we're dealing with two different entities, one making the sign and one installing the signs possibly. So I right now my instinct is like it would make sense to have a sign on Old 99 from the freeway that points people toward Tenino,
Mhm.
and maybe one from Tumwater
Mhm.
that points people to Tenino,
Mhm.
but it doesn't make as, and actually if we do those small signs, if they're $1,200 a piece and we have a $7,500 budget, we could potentially then also do 2 507 signs.
Mm.
I don't know.
The beauty of the freeway sign is
Yeah.
that, oh, there's something there. Now,
Yes.
it's going to be a long drive before they find the something,
Yeah.
but it does indicate, I mean, it puts us on the same level as Olympia and all the other communities that have got those.
Yes,
so
and
that-
Olympia does have one on the freeway.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on what our goal is for it.
Mhm.
I mean, do we want to draw people in to see, and you're going to get more bang for your buck on the freeway?
Do you think that the historic district sign pulls anybody in? And if it does, when they get off the freeway, a creative district sign would just like be like, yeah, okay, now there's really a reason to drive to tonight.
I think because the creative district is a little bit more of a newer thing,
Mhm.
that it's going to get a little bit more of a draw.
It's also more colorful. The signs are more
Yes.
colorful.
Mhm.
Yes. There's so many historic districts all along I-5 and other communities. There's X amount of us.
Yeah.
So creative districts. So I would lean towards let's go for the biggie and
Well, if we could only do one of them, though, would we
Mhm.
go for people heading north or for people heading south?
okay, Tenino Arts, when we put out our things for our events, we definitely concentrate more on the north.
Yeah.
That's where the populace is, and that's where we're trying to draw customers to come down into Tenino to see the art and events. So,
I know, and I had the same instinct, but then I heard some very surprising statistics that a lot of our events draw people from the Vancouver,
we do.
Longview
It's-
area.
It's true, we do. We actually can't lose either way. I mean,
Right,
we're just
yeah.
going to take a chance. So,
Well,
when-
and there's nothing that says we can't add another sign going the other direction in
At
the
a
future,
later date.
right?
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I think I think it's closer and you'd see it better coming from the south and coming around that curve, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, there's a creative district.
Yes.
And you've got Great Wolf Lodge on the other side, so it kind of points to, hey, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
Versus that, because it's been a fairly long drive if you've come from Vancouver, so.
Wait, now that's a good point. If people get off the freeway to go to Great Wolf Lodge and they see a sign that points toward the creative district once they're off the freeway,
Right.
that could be another reason for them to try and explore. Also, there's the Tenino Ranch pulls a lot of people into town, or to the area, but I don't know if they actually make it into Tenino.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be beneficial to try and lure them in. I know they're here for a reason.
They're here for a reason.
Yeah.
And they don't have spare cars, and what they
They
do
get
have
their
is got a
horse
horse
trailer.
trailer on it. We don't have very big parking spaces downtown.
That's true. I'm sure they could unhitch.
They probably could, but do they want to?
Yeah. Some of them have, I think, horse trailers hitched to their RVs.
Mhm. So they're not looking for a hotel or anything else. They are self-sustaining.
They're
Yeah,
self-contained, yeah.
So they're going to be a hard draw for us.
That's true. Now, they might draw other people into the area to watch what they're doing.
Mhm.
Have you been out to see any of the events out there?
I've not, but every time I go past, I'm looking for the cars. How many
Right.
do you have out
Right.
there? So-
We went out one time to watch the what are they called, the mounted shooters.
Hmm.
So they literally are shooting off their horses. They go through a course and they shoot balloons, and it's very exciting.
And to get a horse to go along with that is just so fascinating.
The horses are into it.
Uh-huh.
They're very well trained, and they have to gallop along
Mhm.
doing this whole thing, and then they do a fast gallop out of there. So they've got it starts slow and a little like this, and then next thing you know, they're just like galloping in this very small space, it was a lot of fun. I was impressed.
Well, I think
Yeah.
for our community, that's just an amazing thing to have,
Mhm.
just for the kids growing up, that, that's another
Yeah.
option
Yeah.
for recreation, so. But as far as drawing in people for our creative district, I think it's a long shot for them,
Yeah.
so.
True. So I think you and I have a similar instinct that the freeway sign's pretty important
Mhm.
if we were going to do it. Otherwise, it's just kind of
It's just
possibly a waste of, yeah.
Mhm. I like the idea of competing with the bigger locations.
Well, what we need to do first is find out if it will even be allowed, because like I said, they
Oh.
will only allow so many.
Mhm.
And if it's saturated, it's a non-starter.
Okay.
And so then I think we'll just have to go back to our Highway 99,
Mhm.
I think is a good second place.
I think so too, because you've got people coming from the Tri-City area of Thurston County.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because they're like, yes, you can pick this highway or that highway, and I'm like, but you don't turn off those to go to Tenino. You go through Tenino. So, you could put one at either end of town that says you're in a creative district. That would be the other way to
Mm-hmm.
handle it.
mhm. Well, George is talking about the banners that will go across 507 in town, and I'm thinking something that would said something about the creative district when we've got some things going on would be just a no-brainer,
Yeah.
So just keep reminding people that, especially people who live here, because they're not, number one, they're not going to be always getting off the freeway going, oh, look, the creative district, So I think we need to continue to raise awareness as
Yeah.
well of what we've got going on.
Get some creative district bling. I wrote that down at our last meeting. Like,
We could get T-shirts.
T-shirts. Well, we could, that's a whole nother thing, is we own the rights to the artwork that is on the banners.
Mm.
And one of the ideas that George originally had about that was T-shirts.
Mm.
So we could make creative district T-shirts. I feel like we would need a logo or something, but the artwork itself could make some pretty cool looking T-shirts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Dave would probably volunteer to shoot them out of a T-shirt cannon at basketball games.
Well, I do have plans for an event next year that is going to be a little different, a fermentation festival. It will be our first ticketed event at the park that the city would host. And so we would charge admission to get in. And the theme is anything that's fermented,
Sprouting?
brined. Yes, you can think sauerkraut, kombucha, wine, beer, cultured items like cheese.
Tofu?
I forget tofu. There's salami. You can start, every culture has foods that they preserve through this kind of process of using cultures the sipping vinegars.
Mm.
So Jenny Borden was like, I'm in. We can try and bring in Ole Kraut. So we can bring in producers of those specialty foods, but then also bring in food trucks that can use those items in what they make. Like they sell Reubens or whatever. So it would be like a food festival, but I'm also interested in having workshops at it for teaching some of the methods for making some of these things. And then also live music.
Okay.
And I don't know, there might be an opportunity to throw in we were talking about doing it on an artisan market weekend,
Okay.
just to
Boost. Mhm.
everything, people in town.
Mhm.
Either that or we could do it on a different weekend and have an artisan market in there.
Ooh, like an additional
an
one.
additional part
Mhm.
of it,
Mhm.
yeah, special market. So anyway, I would love to work with like, Creative Arts in Tenino to make that event like really special. And then we would, be raising some funds for the city to do more programs and things like
Okay.
that. That's the thought process behind it.
I like it.
Yeah.
If it's, you're obviously saying the park,
Mhm.
it might be better to have it on a different Saturday than, it's hard for people to do for whatever reason, from
Yes,
those 3 blocks.
I know sometimes it pulls
It
away.
does, it does.
so-
So,
And I can't do it probably the third weekend in August, I believe, is the car show.
okay,
So it might end up having to be the last weekend in August or the first, but the first feels too close to Oregon Trail Days.
the first is, yeah, the tricky thing with summer is that's where all the summer art festivals are, and our people are kind of scattered, so,
Yeah.
the first weekend is, Anacortes for a few of us, so, the last weekend is Ole Harbor Days, but that's.
Is it? Is that
It's usually it is this year.
this year?
Yeah,
Okay.
but-
Well,
so
it's not
we'll
this
watch-
year.
Mhm.
So this is for 2025.
Okay, so the last weekend of August might be a really fun time to be doing some kind of food festival in town, just kind of like a last hurrah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
And I mean, we could do it the same weekend as the car show because we're not planning on being in the same location. But I don't know if that would be a help or a hindrance to the
right,
event.
right. We don't want to step on anybody's toes either.
No, I don't want to step on it. There's
Mhm.
also a motorcycle swap meet that weekend.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I know. My husband goes to that.
Yeah. So our plan right now is to use the quarry house
Mhm.
and then the kind of like fence off the entire section with the
In front of
quarry
the pool. Mhm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then and the quarry
Would it-
house stage too. So
Would
the
it
whole
include the museum area?
it could, although I don't know. It could.
Because if you had activities and stuff, that's a nice flat area to have things
Mhm.
in.
Mhm.
So.
And then we can use the quarry house stage for
Mhm.
music and
Mhm. I like it.
yeah.
Because the last weekend of August, first weekend end of September, it starts to feel fallish even though it's not.
Yeah.
People are thinking about foods and things
Yeah.
like that versus,
And I want to settle on a weekend soon so I can actually start getting the word out because I understand how vendors start booking up for the
Mhm.
following year. So I want to be on the first on everybody's radar.
well, and the fact that it's a new kind of thing,
Mhm.
that's always fun.
Yeah.
So just people getting will that fit for me?
Well, if it interests you and you'd like to help with the I guess that's the portion that I am most intimidated by is the artisan vendor kind of.
Tenino Arts can handle that part of it.
Yeah.
So we could, yeah. So.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, cool. We'll talk more.
Okay.
As far as, I don't even know if we have enough people here to decide when our next meeting will be held. But,
Let's see.
and I think our next meeting won't be as official because we will have to do a site visits.
Okay.
Why do I have an Arch Commission meeting scheduled for the 23rd of April? Did we talk about that, or did I just voluntarily add one?
Are you hosting it for
I
us?
We actually changed, no, we didn't change it to that date though. We did discuss some other dates, but
Well, I have that time open.
He set it aside for us.
already in the calendar.
well, I think, the next meeting could be really short and it'd just be like walking to those two places and discussing the parameters. And then, like I said, I will come up with a request for proposals and send that out and we can kind of sort that out via email.
So 2 or 3 weeks from now? Is that too soon?
No,
or
I
not
would-
soon enough?
I would shoot for 2 weeks from now, because if we want to get people going by May,
Right. So that would be the week of April 8th.
Not gonna happen.
okay. I've got what am I looking at? I've got the 16th.
Yeah, I can do 16. So
Okay.
that does take us out 3 weeks.
Yeah, it does, but that will give everybody a little more notice, and spring break will be over, and the 16th, and we could do 4:30 again or earlier.
What was it, Dave that had the problem with the earlier because of soccer?
Soccer,
Right.
but he wasn't able to make it tonight anyway.
I'm okay with 4 or 4:30. I'm good either way.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Okay.
I have no life.
Well, I'll just put it down at 4 and see what everybody else
All right,
says.
so if we have to
And
bump it
maybe
back.
they'll get more excited about a field trip.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I'm writing that on your field trip. All right, so until next time, and since we don't have a quorum and it's not super official, you don't even need to be like meeting adjourned. We'll
Awesome.
just-
Bye-bye, everybody.
This
Just
today was
bye-bye.
just a discussion. Okay.